This is an evolving and complex situation. We need more information.
Each of these viruses has its own personality or characteristics, and as Meg said, we still don't know whether this virus is spread readily from person to person.
I remember reading the news or hearing through word of mouth about an attorney in Westchester that contracted the virus and may have possibly spread it because he was linked to maybe about 50 other cases in his community, including everyone in his home. So, you know, the alarms went up at work and our HR department said everybody can work home remotely. I work at High 97, one of the top radio stations in the tri-state area. And, you know, one of the best things I think that has happened since the pandemic with work is the fact that I don't have to travel to the city. So that commute to and from work, you know, is kind of like less of a workload. But then there's so much more of a workload at home. All day, we are in meetings, we're strategizing, we're ideating, we're creating different ways to remain relevant and to consistently push the brand forward, and it's a lot.
And today we're bringing it to 100% of the workforce must stay home.
I'm in a rush right now. I'm like on the clock and literally using what you could technically call my lunch break to go and rack up at the grocery store on just like fruits and veggies and stuff.
New low.
Right after the lockdown, the numbers spiked. And we were looking at close to 10,000 people being affected with the virus. And it just didn't make sense. Like, how are all these people getting this virus so fast?
And a Brooklyn principal has died due to complications from coronavirus. 39-year-old Dazan Romaine served as principal of the Brooklyn Democracy Academy in Brownsville. She's the first known New York City public school staffer to die from the coronavirus.
Initially, we weren't taking this pandemic serious. There were even myths that Black people could not contract coronavirus until the first principal died, and I personally knew her. And then a friend of mine died from it, and then that's when it became more and more apparent in our communities that Black people are dying from this. And then we started to hear that almost 1 in every 2 or 3 victims of the coronavirus were Black. And that's when things really got serious. My friends were texting me and telling me that they had a loss of smell, a loss of taste, flu-like symptoms, fever-like symptoms. And I had flu-like, fever-like chills, and I was sick and under the weather. And I didn't get fully well until like 2 or 3 weeks later. And it's just like, is this airborne? You know, like what's happening? So being sick was probably one of the scariest moments during this pandemic. I literally prayed every morning and night that I would get better. And I drank tons of tea, and I, you know, just replenished the immune system with tons of vitamin D and things that were going to help nourish me. Because the kids are out for like another month, until April 20th, and today is literally like March 17th. I'm about to go online and see what plan they have for my son. So I have now become stay-at-home teacher, stay-at-home caretaker / mom, and parenting during this pandemic was probably one of the most difficult things. You know, I'm working from 10 to 6 every day, and sometimes even 7 to 8 p.m. Then I have schoolwork, and then I have to teach my son. And, you know, I got infected. I thought I had corona, and for all I know, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I just don't know. And my son's health could not be compromised. So I sent him to my dad's house for about a month. And I had to work with him remotely while he learned from home remotely. And it was the most difficult thing ever. I hope y'all are paying attention to the news, because New York has officially banned all gatherings over 500 people. My childhood best friend, her birthday happened during the pandemic, and, you know, ironically, Zoom parties is like the new type form of celebrating. So we celebrated life with her during the pandemic.
We go
gonna toast this to Fab, more life. We love you. More memories. For a long time. When outside open, we it up.
And I do a lot of red carpet interviews. I do a lot of interviews with business owners and celebrities. And my life has changed drastically because of that. Like, I'm no longer on these red carpets. Like the BET Awards, normally by now, I would be signing up for press passes to go get flight tickets for LA to go and get ready for this big event. And we didn't get the email because there is no award show. You know, there are tons of myths about how this coronavirus has spread across the world, let alone in America. And there are a lot of conspiracy theories of it being 5G or Iran and it being an airborne disease. And I even thought it was airborne because everyone around me was getting sick. Corona to America. I thought you said it was Iran.
Iran said it, yes. Iran went to the China. Chemical weapon.
They dealing with a chemical weapon.
Yes. They know they're dealing with a chemical weapon.
How has the pandemic affected our community? I live in Flatbush, and it's a high percentage of Black people, Caribbean, African Americans, and Latinos. And, you know, in this neighborhood, we had tons of cases here. You know, if you looked outside, it went from nobody with masks and gloves on to everybody with masks and gloves on in my community. A lot of us were standing in lines and packing up grocery stores, and now we're like all following guidelines and standing 6 feet apart. Another way my community has been heavily impacted during this pandemic is the small businesses. I'm in front of a Chinese store here, and much like all other Chinese stores, they have been shut down for the past week or so. Nail salons, Asian nail salons and stuff, because of the way we're poking fun at them and because they're not getting business. But we gotta keep in mind that these people also have families to feed. They have Asian American kids in schools with us that need to be able to afford a living as well. So everybody, just be a little more kind if we can, because there's a lot of people suffering out there with this corona epidemic going on. You know, I live in a highly saturated area where we, you know, the average small business owner is, you know, tailoring clothes, and prom dresses are being sold. And, you know, it's a lot of retail around here, and all of the stores are closed. Yeah, the tailors are closed. Everybody's closed. My prayers and my well wishes to everyone who makes a living off of selling prom dresses, making clothes, jewelry, just everything that is now shut down. I had just ordered a chain right before the pandemic, and I had put a deposit down on it, and they were like calling me, trying to give me discounts on it so that they could possibly like make some money. So a lot of these small businesses are suffering in my community due to the pandemic, and I'm pretty sure economically along the line, a lot of these businesses may or may not be able to thrive throughout this pandemic. I'm about to go in the jewelry store and see what's going on with my chain now. Relationships since the pandemic has changed for me a lot. I appreciate them more. In a nutshell, I appreciate all my relationships, my family relationships, my friendships, everything. We sometimes move so fast, working, going to school, and parenting, that we don't have time to nurture those relationships that we had for a long time. And, you know, being that I lost a few people due to this virus, and, you know, I just felt like I have to hold on to everyone that is left. So the relationships during this pandemic have been reinforced. We've all got the time to call and check on each other and make sure we're all alive and safe. We've all got to pray for each other. And the relationships just have gotten stronger for me. I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. This pandemic has taught me to love myself more because I had to become accustomed to loving my own skin, loving my natural hair again, and just believing that I'm as beautiful as I look without the filter, without the makeup, without the everyday, just like accessories and stuff. But my nails, I had went to the nail salon right before the pandemic shut down all the stores and everything. And I said, I'm going to get some S&S nails, which is like a dip and powder nail system that lasts for like 4 weeks. And there are some good and bad things that have changed in my life since the pandemic. I've been saving a lot of money because I'm not out as much, or I'm not paying for after school or transportation. So I've been cooking. When it comes to nails, I always go to the nail salon. And recently I taught myself how to do this thing called S&S. I ordered like a professional nail buffer. Crazy. I also braided my own hair during this pandemic. Like, you learn to be more resourceful when you only have yourself to rely on. And I've been building my immune system. I've been getting my skin right. I've been getting my own nails done. So now when this pandemic is over, I will not be spending $60 to get these done at the nail salon. So I'm over here sewing up a few things. I had picked up materials as soon as I knew we would be quarantining. And this is one of the masks that I've made thus far. It has like light blue. My grandmother, who just passed away, her favorite color was light blue. We're working on some stuff in here. We're actually burning time with this free time. Okay, so get your corona on. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but today is like almost about to be the second week of May, and I'm quarantined the hell out. A few things that have kept me entertained while being quarantined. We can start with Netflix. Quarantine radio versus Instagram live battles. Bishop T.D. Jakes has been preaching for years and years now, but I've taken the time out to check him out more, just to keep me spiritually aligned and in tune and hopeful and grateful, and just to have blessings all around me during this pandemic. One of the most difficult things for me is understanding that I will not be celebrating my graduation at the Barclays Center. As a single parent, sometimes you go to school because you want to encourage your child and show them that no matter what life hands you, you will always make it out the winner and successful and on top. And I think that's what graduation is a sense of accomplishment. And, trying on my graduation suit and my graduation hat or my class ring, it feels good, but it doesn't feel good knowing that I won't be wearing it to the Barclays Center. I can't believe I'm finally making it to graduation. This is like one of those moments that I don't even know how to put this tassel on. You guys see that? Yay! Class of 2020 ring, class of 2020. Period. We did get notification that we're going to have somewhat of like a virtual recognition ceremony on the 28th. However, I just hope one day we'll be able to get back outside and really celebrate the graduation the right way. Cheers to the class of 2020. This is probably one of the most unique graduating years ever in the history of education in itself. I'm going to be honest with you. It's been a tough 2 months. But the beauty in all of this is that we're still alive. We're still breathing. And hopefully we still all have our loved ones here. And I think this pandemic has brought a lot of us closer and have allowed us to appreciate the simpler things. And, you can just wake up and be thankful to be breathing and thank God for that, as opposed to waking up and just thinking about your next move and just not being grateful to be able to be alive for it. So, yeah, that's how the pandemic has affected me.